I don't want to stall because I don't want to have to kick this thing again. Oh, I knew it. Okay, guys, let's do this. Choke on. Pray to Jesus. Hi again, Dylan from Throttle Company. We're here to do another episode of In the Loop. You probably know, I'm getting used to this one now, from the titles, what we're doing today. The particular motorcycle is, just giving you guys the glamour shots of all the bikes in the shop, but it is a 1981 Yamaha SR500. It's a customer's bike. He came in here for a carb rebuild and some valve adjustments, so I thought I would take you guys along on the initial test drive. It is December 23rd here, 2020, and we got some good weather. It's about 50 degrees, so I thought, okay, I'm going to take this one. It's just had a carb rebuild the other day, and a bunch of hard to find gaskets. Like I said, the valves have been checked. It's running really well. What's unique about this particular motorcycle is it is a kick-only bike. So it's a single-cylinder, 500 cc's, of course. It shares the same engine with two other motorcycles that I know of, which is the XT500 and the TT500. All of those are kick-only. And SR is the road one, XT is the off-road and on-road, and then the TT is the off-road only motorcycle. This one has some minor upgrades. The bars are different, kind of like clubman style. The suspension has like kind of a progressive spring thing. Super trap exhaust. I've had this bike in here before. They had tires put on, and I got to ride it then, so I know it's fun. So let's go ahead and get it started and take it around the loop. Like I said, kick only, so you get to hear my heavy breathing if this thing doesn't fire right up. So the way it works is, if you can see, hopefully you can see right here, there's a little window, and you kick it until you feel the compression. Then if you look at that window, hopefully you can see this, and this isn't just wasting my time. You kick it until that white bubble comes through. I didn't put the choke on. There we go. And then no gas, and kick it through real hard now. Ah, like I planned it. Like I said, just had a carb rebuild, so everything is running pretty well in there. I have the choke on. I just turned it on. Yeah, didn't like it. I knew it. I was gonna say maybe it's gonna be quick to warm up. So that just proves that it wasn't actually warmed up. Let's make sure that choke's on. Okay, so kick until you feel the compression. Pull the compression lever till you get the bubble. Go all the way back, and then you go all the way through. All right, let's try not to let it die this time, because you gotta kick it every time, guys. All right, let's take it around loop. So this is a fun bike. The whole point of this bike is simplicity. So single cylinder, single carb, kick only. None of the bells and whistles. None of the, it doesn't have electric starter. It doesn't have anything unnecessary and complicated. Got the choke on still. Let's see if we can keep it warmed up here. I don't want to stall because I don't want to have to kick this thing again. Probably a little too early for the choke. Oh, I knew it. Okay, guys, let's do this. Choke on. Pray to Jesus. We did it! We did it! Alright, who knew this? You thought this was going to be a boring video. We might need some adjustments there, I don't know. Like I said, I just got this thing running. So, that carburetor is clean, but is everything set up the way it should be? we will see. Thought I turned the turn signal on there. Maybe it doesn't blink. It like snaps back automatically. Okay, all right. Anyway, this is sometimes how these test rides go. You know, this is a customer's bike. It's a almost 40-year-old motorcycle. So I'm learning as I go here. I've never actually ridden this one this far on the road. I've taken it kind of around our parking lot, and across the street we have a little test ride spot. And I've had it over there. But I really like these motorcycles. They're not too hard to find. They're kind of rare, but they made them for a lot of years. But you could still get them. And here's the thing, you know, I've even heard this guy say it, the owner of this bike, is, you know, at some point you feel like you get too old for a kick-only motorcycle. And I get that. I luckily am not there yet. But yeah, I could see it. You know, there's an article I always reference by Peter Egan, who is a motorcycle journalist, called the 5-stroke Norton. So most motorcycles and cars are 4 strokes. Sorry, I almost said 2, but that's the other option basically. Get some thumper action with that super trap. Anyway, 4-stroke is your normal engine, and he had a stroke trying to kick his over, so it takes some effort sometimes. So I totally get it. I don't know what's going on with the turn signal on this one, and I'm trying to make sure I'm warmed up enough to. Oh, we killed. Let's do a rolling start here. So seems like that carburetor needs a little bit of an adjustment, maybe for the idle. We'll do that when we get back. Maybe we're just not warmed up yet. But this is a fun little, very, very small, very light motorcycle. We're gonna try not to die in the turn here. Oh, we did it. So I'm just doing a rolling start there. If you've never done that, basically what you can do, and you kind of have to judge it based on your speed. You know, I can't be in. I'm 40 miles an hour right now. If my engine were to cut out, I can't just put it in second. But most of the time, about second is where you want it. I'm gonna take this turn a little slow. Sorry, internet. But just to be able to keep the clutch out. But it's a light bike. It's nimble. It's quick. It's a thumper. It's very similar to the GB500 that we had said. Obviously, the GB500 has that electric, or has electric start. It's a little more complex, that bike. It has 4 valves per cylinder, per that single cylinder. That's 2 intake and 2 exhaust. This is just 1 in, 1 out. So, you know, a little bit more technologically advanced. But this is a fun motorcycle, and I'm just using all downshift there just to keep the bike running. But anyway, to get a rolling start, if your bike is still moving, you could just use that compression of the engine to restart it, and that's what I had been doing there when I restarted in 2nd gear. It's a nice trick, especially if your bike is kickstart only. Now the danger is if it doesn't start, or if you've got crazy high compression, or if you're in too low of a gear, is that can really lock up your rear tire. So you kind of have to be careful and ready with the clutch to let it back out. But there's videos online. That's originally how I learned how to do it. But it's stable at speed. It feels like a racy little bike. It reminds me a lot of the GB500 with these handlebars on it. You know, these aren't your standard handlebars. They have kind of more of the upright handlebars. So it's a little more cafe racer. And actually, this motorcycle, SR500s in general, is a very common platform for the for cafe racers. People, because they're so simple and they made them for a long time, you can just replace a lot of these parts and make these into kind of cafe racers. Now I'm just gun shy about it dying. some pep, you know. I think a lot of people think a 500 is small. I've talked before about the torque of a single cylinder, and a single cylinder 500 has got plenty of pep, plenty of torque. It honestly, if we want to compare the two directly, it feels a little faster than that GB 500, but that could just be the individual motorcycles, that GB 500 versus this SR500 kind of thing. This one feels a little peppier, a little faster. I don't know the horsepower ratings. This is obviously a 10-year newer or older bike, I'm sorry, than the GB 500 is. Yeah, I think it's just an idle issue because I'm just having to kind of manually idle, and I hadn't adjusted that. So you get the real test drive experience. This is what happens when you're a vintage motorcycle mechanic, is that sometimes you set something up and you didn't get it perfect the first time. It's colder than it normally is, so bikes have a harder time warming up. And I think that this is an interesting skill, one that I particularly have, is doing what it takes to get home. You know, sometimes is that you, now I'm using the rear brake and kind of giving it a little bit of gas to keep it alive there, so that I could slow down for that truck without killing the engine. But that's something that I noticed, that I'm able to get a bike home or get it around this test lap when I think a lot of people would. I don't want to call and say, there's only, I guess it's two other people at the shop, but I don't want to call and say, come pick me up, you know, when I actually could have made this thing home. So, and it's running good. It's pulling me around. It pulls good. I think the carb clean actually worked out great. But it's just a little bit of, it's just got an idle issue, and I don't know this carb enough to reach down and do it while we're riding. And we're doing a video, so I didn't want to try to pull off to the side and waste some time there. I'm kind of in a hurry here to get back to the shop. But anyway, this is a nice motorcycle. I think you can have them a good price if it's a really, really nice specimen. You know, you're talking about $4,000, $4,500 for a really nice, well-kept one that runs good, obviously. But you can find kind of ratty ones for, you know, $1,500, $2,500 for one that's kind of 5 out of 10, a decent one that runs but maybe needs the carburetor cleaned. And this is a good bike if you're intimidated by carburetors, and you really aren't a vintage guy, or you're a girl and you're getting into it and you're thinking, oh, I'm a 4-cylinder with 4 carburetors, just seems kind of overwhelming. Well, this is a good one because it's a single cylinder and it's a lot less to mess with, a lot less to go wrong. And the SR500s, I talked about this before with there was my rolling start. With the Hondas, there's a ton of information out there on SR500 specifically. They got a bit of a cult following. So you're not alone. They got a ton of information. They got a lot of die-hard people out there. And like I said, this engine is in 3 other bikes that I know of. And so you've got a lot of parts out there, a lot of information, a lot of helpful videos and stuff like that. There's actually a series on YouTube where the guy rebuilds the entire carburetor on this one. I checked it just to make sure where some parts went, but that's a good resource to be able to have. So hopefully you guys got a little bit of what it's like to ride an SR500. I'm going to die here as soon as I get in the shop. There we go. And I'll turn off the key just for dramatic effect, but I'll see you next time. It's just a hand screw.